Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, I'd like to talk about the importance of the Arabic language and understanding the Quran in Arabic, and how reading the translation of the Quran in the English language, how the English language might corrupt your understanding of the Quran. Basically, what I mean is that the English language have its own cultural meanings. Within the English language, it has a cultural and religious meaning with it. And many of Muslims who are converts to Islam or who are relying on translations of the Quran and not learning the Arabic language, you are missing out on the great message and benefit of the Quran by understanding it in the language that it was revealed in, the Arabic language. And I gave a quick example yesterday, but I missed the main point in that particular video. So I deleted it, but I left it on my Facebook account. So I gave some examples. For example, I gave the verse in Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of knowledge, all the people of reminders if you don't know, right? And I said the verb fasalu, right? Isalu, which is actually a commandment. It's not saying you. Now, when I use the word you in English, I can be speaking to an individual. Hey, you come over here. But in Arabic, there's you singular, dual, and plural. Anta, antuma, antum. And then we have that's the masculine. Then we have the feminine form, anti, antuma, antunna, right? And then you have the conjugation with a verb, all right? And then we have the commandment verb. And when we have the verb dealing with the pronoun, right? And we have the conjugation of that verb. You also have with the conjugation singular, dual, and plural form, and also masculine, feminine, right? And then we have with the Arabic language, balaga, right? Eloquence, which is part of Arabic language, which is part of Nahu, or is the thing that you study after Nahu and Sarf, right? Because some things in balaga might contradict some things we learn in Nahu and Sarf. So balaga is the more eloquent way of saying things, where sometimes it might contradict some rules in Nahu and Sarf, right? And that's why you have to understand Nahu and Sarf before you study balaga in Arabic. So in Quran, when you don't understand the Quran in Arabic language, the balaga, the eloquence of the Arabic language and how the ayats and the words are coming in the Quran, it is missed in the translations, right? And then we have just some of the simple examples I gave, like anta, antuma. And I gave the verse fas'alu ahlu dhikr in kuntum la ta'lamun. Fas'alu wa ta'lamun is speaking in the plural form. When you read the translation, that is missing in the translation in the English language. And that's only giving you one example. There's multiple examples of this. And I do have some examples of this written on one of my website called Al Mudrasa Al Ula, why you cannot depend on the translation of the Quran and must learn the Arabic language, right? And I give there's many examples of this in Quran, right? For example, in Quran, why we read the word Allah, you don't see Allah in Arabic with tanween, right? You don't notice that. Somebody who doesn't know Arabic is not going to know why we don't see tanween on the word of Allah. There are even some Arabic speakers who don't understand why you never see tanween on the word of Allah. Bismillahi, inna Allah. Allah is never with tanween because the word Allah is definite. Allah never is indefinite. Anything that has tanween on it is indefinite, right? So when you're reading Quran, you're never going to see this if you don't know the Arabic language, for example. And there's many other examples, right? But I want to say how the English language has its own cultural understanding of words and phrases and sentences. And even in the English language, the words in English even are associated with shirk, polytheism, right? I'm going to give you an example of a word in English that's associated with polytheism, but you're going to see the word in the Quran, right? Surah Al-Jum'ah, Surah Al-Jum'ah, right? The surah about Jum'ah, going to the Friday prayer. What does the word Friday means? In Arabic, we don't say Friday, we say Jum'ah, right? Right, Jum'ah. But in English, people translate Jum'ah to mean Friday, right? But what does Friday mean in the English language, right? Many English speakers don't know that the word Friday is associated with idols. Give you example. So even the English language is associated with words, shirk, and polytheism, right? And I gave you the example on the Jumu'ah prayer. Let me look at the verse, right? First, let's read the translation. All right, I want to get it real quick. I want to get it real quick. Read one of the translations. Let me turn the volume down. I'm getting all these notifications. I don't want to depend on this translation. All right, so when we look at the translation, I'm looking at one here. It's not something I would depend on this translation. Here we go. Quran.com. All right, I'm looking at the website, Quran.com. All right. Right. So this is Quran.com, right? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha nu'diya li salati min yawm al-jum'ah fas'u ila dhikrillah, right? So the translation say, "O believers, when the call of prayer is made on Friday, then proceed, right? Then proceed diligently to the remembrance of Allah and leave off your business. That is best for you if you only knew," right? That's the translation, right? And this is a interpretation in the English language, right? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha nu'diya li salati, right? So what does the word Friday mean in the English language? So Friday we know as the day, but the origin of the word Friday, for example, Friday means the day of fig, the fig, right? It's German, right? For the German goddess fig with the Roman goddess of Venus, right? So Friday means it's a German word, right? And it's what? It means the day of the fig. And the day of the fig is a Germanic goddess fig with the Roman goddess Venus, right? So when you look in the English language, a lot of words in English is associated with shirk and kufr. Then with the English language, it have a Eurocentric understanding of words culturally. And Eurocentric principles are the opposite of Islamic principles. All right. So, for example, when I mentioned the verse in Quran, Fas'alu ahlu dhikr, right? Ask the people, ask the people of knowledge, right? Right? When I think of you, when I hear the word you, what do you think of in English language? When I hear the word you, I think of self, you, an individual, one person. All right. A lot of the things in the English language related to Eurocentric individualism is based upon individuals, individual aspirations, and not doing certain things collectively. So when you're going to look into the Quran, or you're going to look into the Arabic language related to the Quran, when you're depending on the English translation or any translation, you're losing out in the interpretation and the meanings of words. The word Jum'ah in Arabic, al-Jum'ah, right, comes from the word Jama'ah, collecting, gathering, right? Collecting together, or gathering, or coming together, or doing something in the group, from the word Jama'ah, or bringing something together. The word Friday in English, the origin of the word Friday in English is related to idolatry. The coming together on the day of the fig, meaning the German goddess with the Roman goddess Venus. Let's look up some more interpretations on Friday in English language, the origin of the word. And if you like this video, please click a like. It will help the algorithm of the videos. So the origin of the word Friday, Friday also even have another religious meaning to it in English. The day of the crucifixion of Jesus. That's what I'm just looking on the dictionary. The origin of the word Friday. What is meaning? The day of the crucifixion of Jesus. Friday also means that in English language, right? Here we go. There's more to the word Friday in English. So it says Friday's name after the goddess of the Frigg in Norse mythology. She was the goddess of the fertility and marriage. This is the fixed day. The meaning of her name is the beloved one. This is the meaning of the word Friday. She was secretive. Fig knew all, but spoke little about her acquired knowledge. She knew all fates, yet would tell no fortunes. Fig was the daughter of, I can't pronounce this word, Frangurian, the goddess of the earth. Fig was married to Odin, who was the chief god and ruled the skies. Wednesday is the name of Odin. Fig was associated with the planet Venus, and during the Viking times, Venus was known as Fig's star. In astrology, Fridays connected to Venus. Venus was the goddess of love and beauty in Roman mythology. Do I have to say any more? So a lot of words in English is associated with kufr and Eurocentric idea. European mythology and Eurocentric ideas. Do I really have to explain or get explicit why you have to understand the Quran in the Arabic language? Now imagine now you're reading Quran and you're a Westerner or you're an English speaker. How much of the English culture is influencing the English language? And when you read the translation, how much of the English culture perception is going to affect your interpretation of what you're reading in the English language related to the Quran? It's a must that you understand the Arabic language to read the Quran. It is a must. You can escape it. You must learn the Arabic language. Allah revealed the Quran for Arabic language, and it says that multiple times in the Quran. The Arabiyya Mubin. You see this word multiple times in Quran. Quran came down and Arabiyya Mubin, clear Arabic text. Another verse, it would say Allah sent down the Quran in Arabic, and perhaps for you to have intellect. So it shows that the Quran must be understood in its language, Arabic language. I want to give another example. If I could find my website, I have a website of mine, Al-Madrasa Ula.com. I might not be able to find it on this phone. I see my YouTube channel. I see my Facebook page. It should be on the Facebook, the link to the site. All right. No, that's somebody else's. Let me see, can I find it? Because this phone I don't use all the time. I know how to find it by my name. All right, so I have on my site. I can't find it right now because I forgot I have so many articles that's all also in the internet search. Here we go. I found it. Here we go. I found it. Right. So I have this article. Well, I found the website. I mean, find the article on why it's important to learn the language. So many articles here. I never noticed that. Let's look. So I wrote a number of articles on common mistakes that Russianists. Here's okay. The importance of Arabic to understand the basic of fiqh. Examples by Abu Bara. That's one of them. Other posts in Arabic. Okay, another benefit of understanding Quran in Arabic and not depending on translations. That's the article, right? So I want to read this article. You can find it on my website. Maybe I link it later on into this video. So another benefit of understanding Quran in Arabic and not depending on translation. This is the name of the article. Another benefit of another benefit of knowing, I need to get my glasses, the Arabic language is knowing that you cannot depend on translations of Quran for interpretations due to its missing the balagha, which I mentioned in the beginning of this video of the Quran, and the power usage of the Arabic language with the Quran. I like to show my point with reversing Quran, right? I need my glasses because I'm blind. Verses are actually smaller than the English fronts. So I gave an example here. قالوا إن هذان لا ساحران يريدان أن يخرجاكم من أرضكم. Right? So this is a verse in Quran, right? So it says قالوا إن هذان لا ساحران. Right? So in this verse it's talking about Musa and his brother Harun, right? So it says, the verse says, they said, verily these are two magicians. Their object is to drive you out of your land with magic and overcome your chiefs and nobles. This is what the people said to Pharaoh about Musa, right? So I wrote, I like to add also this translation, which is one of the good translations, did not translate the verse according. It left out due to the translator of this verse did not have a strong background of Arabic language as a grammarian of the Arabic language. It should have been yes, for indeed these two men are two magicians. Then I wrote, or it can be interpreted because there's different kirat, different kirat of the Quran related to this verse have different forms of recital. So I said, yes, for indeed these two men, these two magicians, or it could be interpreted into saying these two are not except that they are magicians. Why is this verse? It says in hadani la siharani, because if you understand Arabic, right, in hadani siharani, for those who know about Arabic grammar a little bit, will say that is wrong. It should be in hadaini li la siharani, right? I wrote that, which is different kira of Quran. In hadani. So people understand anything after n, it is going to be yani al mansub, right? So it either supposed to be in hadani la sahirani, right? And that's another kira of the verse. Another form of kira of reading is like this, which is a different kira of the Quran, but the verse written from the qira, from the kira al-Hafs Ibn Kathir, Hafs and Ibn Kathir. Some scholars of Arabic language will say what it means. It means that in means yes. Some scholars of Arabic grammar say in negates, as in, for example, his meaning is ma hadani illa sahirani. Some say it also means a tokid, given emphasis. Indeed, there are other interpretations, but if one never understand Arabic language, he will never fully understand the Quran and the importance of the Arabic language, right? And I said this is by Abu Bakr, right? So when I wrote this, I give you example from the Arabic point of view. Some scholars say in hadani, in here, it means yes, these two are magicians, right? But I said when you look at if you depend on the translation, you will never got that from the translation. Only if you understood the Arabic language, you'd be able to understand that. Because in means could be that, or it could be emphasis as in a tokid. But some of the scholars would say, well, if it's going to be in, it's supposed to be in hadani, right? So some scholars say, for according to interpretation, it means in means yes. When I look at the translation, you're not getting that in the translation. Matter of fact, I got another example. I forgot. I like to write about these things, right? So I'm looking at my other website. All right, islamfinest.space on tafsir on a particular verse of Quran. Even some, because I do a lot of translation and I'm finishing up a book right now. All right. So when I do translations or I translate things from Arabic into English, I notice that when I translate and it's like verses in the Quran, I cannot depend on translators translation of Quran. I have to translate it according to the verse itself and what the sheikh is doing, or what the purpose of the sheikh using the verse from the Quran, because sometimes in the verse in the Quran there is a Sharia legislation thing in the verse, right? And then the translator into the English language of this verse might just did a rough or a surface translation, not interpreting the different usage or benefits actually in that verse. He might be missing out in the translation. So a sheikh might be using the verse, and you'll look at the translation and you will see the translation means this, but when the sheikh is using that same verse in Arabic, there's some words in it which is missing in the English translation, some words and meanings and understanding that's there, but the translator who translated, he translated a rough translation. So you don't get that in the English translation, only if you understand Arabic. So I want to show you this example. I'll look for this article too. Ah, here we go. I think this is the article. There's a number of them I have like this. I'm trying to see which one. I do it so I can see it. I think this is it. Can't remember. I translated this like in 2016. ولكل إنسان can't even see that. لكل إنسان ألزمناه طائره في عنقه ونخرج له يوم القيامة كتابا يلقاه منشورا. Uh, so what I did with this, I can't remember. Oh, okay, I'm reading it. Okay, now I see where it begins. Okay, here we go. This is long, man. I didn't want to read all of it. It's very long, right? So I'm here. I think that here we go. So I'll read it, right? So this is the question and answer to Sheikh Salih Fawzan, right? It says, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, uh, and we have fastened every man his fate to his neck on the day of resurrection. We shall bring out for him a book which he may find wide open. It will be said, read your book yourself are sufficient as a reckoning produced against you this day. Yes. So the Sheikh says, yes, this verse, Allah glorifies he the most high that he fastened to every man that the children of Adam his fate, which is his deeds, which he did from the good and the evil. And we have fastened every man to the fate of his neck. I can't remember what from the translation was wrong from the original. I think it was the Muhsin Khan, not translation wrong, but it was a rough translation. I think it was Muhsin Khan translation. And I was looking at it and I was like, oh man, how some people translated this verse, what the Sheikh was talking about, using the same verse, meaning in Arabic. There are some beneficial wordings in it, and I was like, the translator who translated the verse in English, he missed out on certain particular wordings, right? He just did a surface translation of the verse, and I was like, man, I can't depend on that translation. I got to translate it myself because the Sheikh is talking about certain Pacific, right? But I wanted to look at the original verse, which one will do right now. All right, because I don't think I wrote about this. I did write about this somewhere else. I just can't find it now. I mean, I probably written this. I've written this stuff 2016, man. That's a long time ago. But let's look at the original translation. I don't think this is it, man. Let me see. I can't remember where exactly it was at. I don't think it's this article. It might have been a different article. I can't remember which one. Here we go. Because I translated so much stuff here. I think this is the one. Let me see. He put himself. Here's another one. I think this is the one though. I think I was looking at the different translations and I was like, some of them were a little bit off from the different translators of the Quran. All right. I think this was the one. I'm just looking now. I'm just looking. I know I'm reading about it somewhere else. I'm just trying to find that article, right? Reflecting on seeking knowledge of the sciences of Islam related to the Arabic language. Oh, okay, this is my. Sometimes I do highlight these things in other articles. So when I ever want to go back, oh, here's one right here, 2015. Here we go. I think I found it. It's on a different file. Here we okay, that's the one I already read. I gotta get my sites, the Arabic parts of my site about why learning Arabic and put them all on one site so I can find all of these articles. Yeah, I can't. This is another point. I already read that one from the first one I read. I know it's this article right here. It's at the top here. I can't remember, but I remember somewhere. That might be this one right here too. Hold on. I remember somewhere I was reading in the translation. I was like, yo, the translation is a little bit off. And I was looking at different translators of the Quran. I was like, yo, that's off. Or I was like, some of the points, legislation points, and some of the translation related to the legislation of Islam, where the scholar would derive or use Islamic rulings for or proofs and evidence for from the Quran. And I would actually be translating the article and say, let me go see what this translator for this verse say. And I say, oh, the verse, it doesn't even touch on this Sharia point that's in the actual verse in the ayat in Arabic. It's missing in the translation. I have a few articles like this. I don't remember which ones, but I know this one was one of the one I was just reading, but I can't remember which translation I was looking at for the verse, what it was saying. I can't remember. But I know is that when I do translate things, talk about fiqh issues or sharia issues, and I look at some of the English translations of the verse, I like, yo, I can't depend on this translation. I look at it, I say, oh, that's missing this point of fiqh that's actually, or this point in fiqh, or this point in the sharia law that's mentioned in this verse in Arabic, it's missing in the translation, right? Because the translator just interpreted it, might use a particular tafsir in Arabic to help him to interpret the verse, what it's meaning. But in the actual verse, there's like 5 or 6 different benefits in it. From an Islamic law point of view, from a Sharia point of view, from a fiqh point of view, even from a lugha, Arabic language point of view, have all these benefits in it. But the translator, when he translated, is a rough translation, right? Or not a rough translation, a surface translation, right? He might emphasize a particular tafsir in the translation, just for the reader in the English when he's read the verse that he gets at least a little understanding what the Quran or this verse or this chapter or verse is speaking or talking about, but does not replace knowing the Arabic language. Does not replace it at all. All right. This is the point I want to make. All right. Maybe I will start doing this one day, that when I'm translating things and I'm talking about Quran or whatever, how some in certain translations we will find the English translation, uh, all the benefits that's in that one verse might be 5 or 6 benefits, one from a legislation point of view, Islamic law point of view, one from a same verse might have a fiqh benefit in it. It might have also a lugha, a benefit in the Arabic language in it, plus the balagha. It is missing. All right, it'll be missing in the translation, or it's lost in the translation. I'm just looking at this another article. It's not this one. It was that one I was reading before, but I can't remember the original translations I was reading from 2 or 3 different translators. how some of the interpretations were missing from the actual ayat. I think the word it was Mansur. That probably was the word. Because I even highlighted it in Arabic. I put a star in it. Why I put a star in it? Am I because I'm looking at the translation and I'm looking at the translation of the article. Yeah, I'm looking at the article still. I see I put a star on the verse in Arabic, and that's probably where the issue was at in the translation. And then then I looked at the translation. I'm just looking right here. Because usually I put little, when I translate things into English, even articles I translate, I put little side notes or little marks in there, like, hey, this this work I did here, um, when I translated it, maybe the translation from the verse of Quran that's in books or like translated websites of Quran, maybe is missing these points or whatever, right? Sometimes I do put little marks on there, for myself when I go back to reference, or when I go back to the articles I have written, or the articles I have translated from scholars, I put these little markers on there. Sometimes, I'll be doing that on the side, just as a translator for myself. And I think the word was I did put a little mark here, and the marker maybe is Mansuran. Nah, I'm just separating the verse here in the Arabic. I see that. But I know somewhere in the translation, the original translation, there was a little bit issues right there. I just can't remember what issue, what was what the book, the translation, what did it originally say? And I was like, nah, that's off. Some points of the thick issues were missing, or the issues that the Sheikh is talking about, some of the wordings in the actual Arabic verse, it was not indicated in the translation. That's what I remember now. Yeah, because I'm now making some comparison now. I'm looking at in the day of judgment, we shall bring it out. We shall bring out from him a book which he will find wide open. Shall bring out from him a book which is wide open. Read your book. Read your book, you yourself, sufficient as a reckoning produced against you this day. This is actually my upgraded the translation. Now I remember. Now let me go back. I actually now remember actually reading this stuff. I'm getting old, but sometimes you look at something. So the original translation, let's see what the original translation verses Surah Isra from verse 13 to 13 and 14. Let me see. Ah, yeah. Okay. I can't remember. I just know I can't remember what it was. It probably was one of the, what it probably was? It was probably the Muslim Khan, because some of these websites that upload Muslim Khan translation of Quran, Some of it is like bootleg, or it's probably old editions, right? An old edition that probably have been edited or updated of the translation. So I think maybe some of these, I know some of these websites that have different Quran, different ayats in the translation by different translators. Some of them are probably using old edited stuff. That's probably what it was. Old translations that the edit or the edition was updated, right? The translation was probably updated, probably using the old, outdated editions of that particular translation. Let's look at that, man. Yeah, because I see even my translation is and we have fastened every man his fate to his neck on the day of resurrection. We should bring out for him a book which he will find wide open. It will be said to him, read your book for yourself as sufficient as a reckoning produced against you this day. That's my translation. Let's look at Muslim Khan. That's what I got to do, man. You know, when I get stuck in one thing, I just gotta find it, man. Cause I know. Oh, this Muslim, this here we go. It's not. I don't think this is Muslim Khan. Oh, this is what? What? Let me see. What is this? I don't know what translator is this. Okay, I see what they have. Muslim, we fasten every man's deed to his neck. That's not okay. That's Muslim Khan. Let me see. Believe faith. You have faith fastened on his neck. Every person will have imposed his fate on his neck, and is looking at different translators. These guys, I don't know. Every bring impose on him his a bird upon his neck. It would bring out from him on the day of resurrection. Yeah, because the word says ta'ira. And I'm just looking at it. Even I look at the original text of the verse. I ain't even looking at it now, man. وَقُولُ insan alzamna anzalnahu ta'irahu fi unukihi. Yeah. So the actual verse says, وَقُولُ insan, we have fastened a bird, his bird to his neck. It's the top shit when they say the bird means his destiny. That's what it is now. I'm looking at the actual verse in Arabic, right? وَنَخْرُجُ لَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ كِتَابًا يَلْقَاهُ مَنْشُورًا. Right? So yeah, so كُلُّ إِنسَانٍ أَلْزَمْنَاهُ and the ta'irahu, right? So the word ta'ira means bird, actually, his bird. But the tafsir explained bird means his fate. But that's not it. I can't remember. But here, by me looking at the Arabic, right? And this tafsir, because the sheikh is explaining the meaning of the words or meaning of the verse, right? So the ta'ira means, which is bird, it means fate, right? The translation don't show that, right? Because I had to go back and actually look at the Arabic, right? The Arabic verse, ta'ira, it means bird, but here it means fate, right? That's missing in the translation, right? The word birding, bird is missing in the translation. That's an example, all right? Because now I'm looking at it and I'm like, I mean, I wrote this a long time ago. You know, I missed the point while I was looking in it. Then I say, I see it right now. The word ta'ira. But ta'ira here means your fate or your destiny. There's other examples too, since we're looking at Quran, all right? Since I'm on the website also with translations, let me just do this real quick. So we could do this real quick. Look at some other verses in Quran. Even when you go in Arabic and just start looking, even like when you looking, because I'm looking at Quran and the Mus'haf. So even when you look at the Mus'haf, right? And when it comes to even the wordings in the Quran, the grammatical sentences of the Quran, and the way that Allah speaks in the Quran, you will see a lot of eloquence in it, right? Here, for example, I'm looking at Quran.com, right? I'm looking at Surah Ma'idah, that's Surah 5, verse 4. For example, here it says, يَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا أُهِلَّ لَهُمْ قُلْ أُهِلَّ لَكُمُ الْطَيِّبَاتِ, right? So they ask, O Prophet, what is permissible for them to eat? Say what is good and lawful. ما قل أهل لكم الطيبات, and it's permissible for all of you, for you, what is tayyibat. It says here, say what is good and lawful. أهل لكم الطيبات, and all that is good is lawful for you. وما علمتم. I'm just looking at some of the wordings. يوم أهل لكم الطيبات, and today we made lawful for you what is tayyibat, all that is good. Today, all good, pure food has been made lawful for you. وَطَعَامٍ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ حِلٌّ لَكُمْ وَطَعَامُكُمْ حِلٌّ لَكُمْ. This is actually a good translation. I'm just looking at this right here. It's a good translation of Quran.com. It's decent. Actually, Quran.com is very decent. The translation is very decent. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha kumtum ila salati faksilu wujuhakum. It's not a, this is actually Quran.com is a good translation. O believers, when you rise for prayer, wash your faces and your hands and wipe your heads and wash your feet. This is actually a good translation. واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم وميثاقكم ميثاقه الذي, and remember Allah's favor upon you. Actually, this is a good translation. I never really looked at the translation at Quran.com, but it's actually good. I just want to look at some other surah out of Surah Ma'idah, because Surah Ma'idah has a particular theme in it. Surah Al-Baqarah also have some of the same theme in Surah Ma'idah. Let's take a look. Well, I can't see anything. Oh, I gotta close this out. I want to get deeper into the Quran, not the first verses. Let's get into the Quran. Let's get to 48, 50. You should get up into 100. The verse 100 and above. That's when it talks. The verses are getting more depth into things. An example of the kindle of the fire. It's not. It's a good translation. I want to get deep into the verse. Actually, I don't want to make this video over an hour. I'm more like this, and I'm at 52 right now. Here we go. I want to get up higher, hundreds verses. There we go. And that's what people. Yeah, you have في أرض حلالا طيبا ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين. That's the verse. إنما يأمر بالسوء والفاحشة. I want the complicated verse that's talking about a lot of things. That's how I can tell it's a good translation. It's a good translation. I'll be very honest. Quran.com is a good translation. Let me look at I want to look at who owns Quran.com. I really never looked at the translation, what translation they didn't translate or they depending on. Let me see, can I find that? Good. About us. Okay, the portal features free, trustworthy translations of the meaning, access to the noble Quran meaning. I want to know who is doing the English translation. It's good. This website, the translation is decent. It's very decent. I like it. I never really but I don't really talk about what translations or who's the translator for their site. It's very good. I want to look into that, which I can't find. I have many different sources. I understand what they're saying now. So the Quranic ENC, I guess they must be short for English. Oh, I'll click on that link. Okay, thank you. Oh, okay, now, okay. So they're depending for the translation on something called QuranENC.com. And then find out who's the Okay, I see. They dealing on okay, Muxin translation. Oh, and they depend. Oh no, this have multiple translations. I mean, multiple translators. Okay, I see now. Here we go. Objective rating free electronic. I want to see translators about translators. It's because it's pretty good now. I never really noticed the translation before on this site. It's decent. Parts of video every day. Let me see. Translation index. Give me some information. Rwanda Translation Center. Rwanda Translation Center. Okay, what was that? Okay, that's the multiple translations they use it. Okay, I understand now. And they have different languages. This is real good, mashallah. Oh, Islamic House. Okay, I understand. I know. Is it Islamic House? Or this app you're talking about? It's the app. Okay, I'm out of here. 56. I don't want to make this video over an hour because when it's over an hour, I can't play it again. This is a good translation at Quran.com and QuranENC.com. I'm just looking at the people who put this together. MashaAllah, that's all I'm trying to do. Here we go. Co-partners of the project is Muslim Charity Foundation. I think that is Dunyan Endowment, or Rabwa Office, Islamic House, and Roda Translation Center. Okay, there we go. And this is must be for the Arabic. Uh, this Quran, this is for the audio. This is for the actual Mus'haf and Borada Translation Center. So this must be the people behind the translation on their site. Let me look them up. 57. I'm about to be out of here. I just want to look this up. So once this video closes, I ain't gonna be looking at this site no more. I got some stuff to do. So I'm knocking out two birds with one stone. Okay. So Rorada Translation Center, the Noble Quran Encyclopedia. This is QuranENC.com. All right. Those are people behind Quran.com translation. It was decent. I'm gonna save this, learn a little bit more about their site and what they're about. Oh, this is the site I was reading from. Okay. So these are the people behind Quran.com translation. This is real good. I really liked this. You know, even translations, I'm at 58. I don't want to go over 59, Muhammad, and remind myself. Even translation for Quran, you got to go to school for. Even translations from Arabic into English, you have to go to. They have universities for this in the Muslim world, or for translations. Because I have one of my associates that has his was going for his master's in Arabic language. His minor was in translations. All right, for Arabic. And he was giving me one day he was telling me, he was showing me his courses that you have to take for his degree, and I was like, oh man, it's a lot of work. He was going to, I think, Dar Ulum in Egypt. Dar Ulum in Egypt. It's a university in Egypt called Dar Ulum, which is one of the universities. Don't think about Dar Ulum with the Deobandis. No, Dar Ulum in Egypt is a very well known university. So he was showing me all the things, the rigorous studies you have to study just for translations from Arabic into English. It's not as easy as people think. This is a good site, man. I'm just looking at their about page and this stuff. Here. Oh man, I made it an hour. Oh man, I didn't want to do it, but I found an important note on their site. I wanted to read it, but I guess I got to go over the hour. So important note: it is noteworthy that no matter, and this is their site. All right, it's not me. This going off my head. All right. So it says it's noteworthy that no matter how accurate any translation of the message of the Quran may be, it will still fall short in conveying the transcendent meanings of the miraculous Quranic text, meaning the Arabic text. And the meaning conveyed by this translation is only the product reached by the extent of the team's knowledge and understanding the sacred book. Hence, this translation cannot be error-free, as is the case with any human endeavor. Should you have any remarks or recommendation concerning the translations, please do not hesitate to write in the comment box next to each verse on the website, or send us an email, and that's info@QuranicENC.com. So even as the translator, this is the note they put on their site. I think this is the home page, all right, or the about page. This is the about page, I'm sorry. That's the first thing they put the note. You cannot depend on the translations. All right, and that's the note. I'm gonna edit this video, I'm gonna upload it again, and I'm gonna chop it up and make it short, maybe like 30 minutes, right? So even as the translator, right, of Quran.com, they depend on the translation from QuranicENC.com. This is a note they wrote. All right, no matter how accurate any translation of the meaning of the Quran may be, it will still fall short in conveying the transcendent meanings of the miraculous Quranic text, and that the meaning conveyed by this translation is only the product reached by the extent of the team's knowledge and understanding the scarce books. Hence, this translation cannot be error-free. All right, and I'm not criticizing the translation on their site. I liked it. But I have seen other translations on other websites that have multiple different translators. When it comes to certain verses in Quran and stuff, they miss the mark, especially when it comes to speaking about fiqh issues, legislation issues, when that's using verses from the Quran. Sometimes the translations, English translations, whatever, it misses those marks. I'm just letting that be known. All right, so I hope some of the brothers and sisters who heard this video would take some benefit of it. And one of the main benefits I want you guys to get out of it is that, yo, man, you got to learn Arabic language. You know, that's the real purpose behind this video. You got to learn Arabic language. And I will edit this video to make it a little bit short, under an hour, maybe make it like 30 minutes. I know how to make it short to like 30 minutes at least. So I cut out all the delays I have, like reading, looking up stuff. And, you know, I'll cut those things out to make this video short so it can be rewatchable, inshallah, and I'll speed it up, the video up a little bit more. All right, so if you like this video, please click like and share. And if you want to see when I re-upload this particular video to make it shorter, you know, to subscribe. And make sure when you click the subscribe notification that you could click also with subscribe notification, that every new upload I have or whatever I go live, that you get a notification to your YouTube. You get a notification, right? Because YouTube, at many times, you know, some channels, they shadow ban. So when new content comes out on a particular channel, they don't give you notification. I notice Facebook do that with me. They won't give me it won't send out notifications. So if you click subscribe right now, and when you click subscribe, it has by the subscribe button, when you click it, the options to get all notifications or like some notifications, right? So you choose your options right there. But I would definitely end this video now. And even I read from the site where it says that even the translations on their site, you cannot depend on translations. I'm going to add, that's why you have to learn Arabic. All right, subhanakallahumma bihamdik wa shalla wa anta astaghfirullah wa tubu ilayk.